Have you ever hated your job, had so much anxiety that you were considering quitting? You're not alone. Nearly half of all American workers that were surveyed are considering quitting their job in 2024, with anxiety being the number one issue among American workers. 79% of employees reported work-related stress, and leaves of absence due to mental health increased by 300% since 2017. That's huge. So if you hate your job so much that you have anxiety, stick around. I'm going to give you solutions for how to cope now and advice on whether quitting is the right option for you or not. So welcome to episode 13. My name is Crystal Sale. I help professionals that hate their job find freedom, fulfillment, and a career that works for them. So if you're new here, get subscribed so you're in the know on brand new episodes and free resources that I provide just for you. If you don't know my story, I'm a chiropractor and I worked in the field for over 13 years. And there was one job in particular that I had where I would wake up in the morning, I'd be almost in tears having to go to work. I had to give myself a pep talk before I walked out the door. It was so stressful. It took a toll on me. Every Sunday I would be in tears, like sobbing to my boyfriend, just not wanting to go. This is definitely an extreme scenario, but it's just to say that there's no shame in having these feelings. If you're having anxiety due to work, then there's a solution. We can work through it. There's a way to get through it. This is why we're here. So let's talk about what work anxiety is. Basically, it's just anxiety or stress that's caused by work. So if you have symptoms, they basically go away when you take PTO, or let's say if you have a nice weekend, and then they'll come back as you go to work. Let's look at some symptoms, and I'm going to give you some solutions for each as we go. So the first symptom is poor sleep quality. So if you're having trouble falling asleep, or you have poor sleep where you're just not getting good sleep, you're waking up exhausted, these are symptoms of stress and anxiety. So one thing you can do is to come home from work, take a short 10 to 15 minute walk, just to kind of give yourself a break from, like, a clear separation from work duties and that mindset to home and rest and all of the things that happen at home. So this walk, I love to go for walks, and when I'm processing information or I'm trying to come up with solutions, I always go and take a walk because it helps me clear my head and helps me come up with some solutions. So if you're struggling at work, this is another good option for that reason. Another option, if you are in the middle of the night and you cannot sleep, you're just stuck. So one thing you can do is to download a meditation app and listen to some sleep music or some bedtime stories. I actually do not sleep well with the TV on. I'm one of those people that if the TV's on, like, I'm going to end up staying up and watching whatever's on and not get any sleep. But I've done some bedtime stories, and it's amazing. Like, it works spectacularly. I highly recommend it. I think it just kind of gets your brain focused on something else, and then they, talk slow, and they're really, really great. So you can download a meditation app and look for those. And I give you some other recommendations in episode 8. So I would recommend, I'll put a link to episode 8 in the show notes below if you want to check those out. Another symptom of anxiety and stress is mood swings. So if you are feeling like you're constantly up and down, you're basically, your emotions are on edge, right? You're just stressed and you're just right at that tipping point. And so anything that comes along and triggers you is going to set you off into kind of like a, blow up. Something that can help with that is journaling. Journaling is a great way to get whatever is in your head out of your head and just put it on some paper. If you want to, you can rip it up and throw it away. That's fine. But just getting it out of your head, like you're talking to somebody, it really makes a difference in your emotions toward it. So this is a great tip. And then also you can head to episode 4. I talk about emotional control and ways to help. I give you some other tips. So again, I'm going to leave that link in the show notes as well, episode 4. So symptom number 3 is a decline in your physical health. If you're getting to a point where the stress and the anxiety is building up so much that you're having physical symptoms like headaches, stomach issues, and if you have stomach issues normally, typically with stress and anxiety, it's going to be worsened stomach issues. And then high blood pressure is another big one. That anxiety will trigger some high blood pressure. These are things that if it's getting bad, you should consider seeing your doctor to talk about these things, especially with the high blood pressure, ways to control that. But a great option in the interim is positive thinking. I know this is hard, right? Like you're stressed out and I'm telling you to think positive, but there are some real benefits to thinking positive. One is a decreased risk in heart disease. And there's also, it helps to lower your levels of the stress hormone, right? This is exactly what we're trying to do. Your stress hormones are way up. So we want to try to get those down. Positive thinking really makes a difference. So I definitely recommend thinking more positive, focusing on positive aspects of your day, trying not to dwell on the negative. If you catch yourself complaining or hyper-focusing on something that's not helping you, just, switch gears. Don't be mad at yourself. Just switch gears and say something that you're grateful for. I give you some more tips in episode 10. I really talk about the health benefits associated with positive thinking. If that's something that you are struggling with, I strongly encourage you to go check that out. I will link that article again in the show notes below. And lastly, if you're having panic attacks, this is a big physical symptom. This is when it's gotten really bad. And again, I encourage you to seek medical help, seeing your primary doctor to help you through this. I'll give you some tips on if you do have a panic attack, what you can do. Now, if you've never had a panic attack before, you want to know what you're looking for, right? Maybe you've had one and you didn't know what it was. Basically, it's a sudden surge of fear, right? You're going to have a pounding heart, shortness of breath. Sometimes people have nausea or like chest pain. These are all symptoms of a panic attack. What you want to do is talk to yourself, kind of develop a mantra for yourself, right? Because this is something that you've talked yourself into something really bad, right? So you need to kind of talk yourself down. And so developing a mantra like, this will pass, or I'm okay, and just repeating that to yourself. Like, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. So just trying to talk to yourself and calm yourself down. The other thing you should try to do is to try to control your breathing. So you are going to be, it's basically the shortness of breath, right? You're hyperventilating, you're taking quick, short, shallow breaths. And so this is not good. You don't want to be doing that. So you need to try and take longer, deeper breaths. So really focusing on your breathing is also going to help. And then lastly, you want to follow the 3-3-3 rule. So the 3-3-3 rule is identifying 3 objects. So just looking around and seeing 3 objects in the room, and then hearing 3 sounds. So listening for 3 sounds and identifying them. And then moving 3 body parts. So you want to basically take your focus off of whatever it is that is causing you anxiety and put it on something else. And this can help you just calm down and get through the panic attack. So again, that is the 3-3-3 rule, which is identifying 3 objects, hearing 3 sounds, and moving 3 body parts. Again, these are some solutions to help with the symptoms in the moment. But the ultimate goal is always to fight the problem at the source, right? If you're not treating the problem at the source, it's just going to keep coming back. And so, yes, in the interim, in the short term, we can work on some solutions for those symptoms, but we really need to work on lessening that hate that you have for your job, lessening that anxiety that you're feeling. So that is the ultimate goal. Let's take a look at some causes of anxiety in the workplace. So a high workload could be one of the causes for why you're having so much anxiety. If you just are being worked to death, your hours are long, you're working overtime, or even if you're just, in my case, when I was going through severe anxiety, it wasn't that my hours were long, it was that the load in those hours was extensive. So it can just be a lot of pressure. So something you're wanting to do if a high workload is the issue, is take some breaks, right? Take short 5-minute breaks throughout your day. Just kind of plan them in, set a timer, but just make sure you're taking a little bit of a break. Don't just put it off. Don't, set your timer and, check emails or something like that. You don't want to do that. You want to take a real actual break. Just to kind of get your brain off of the crazy, right? Another tip is to set boundaries, right? So if your boss is sending you texts or emails after work, a good idea would be just don't check those emails. Just set a clear boundary that you're just not going to check those emails. It's one thing I did. I never installed my work email on my phone. I just refused to do it. I am not at work, and so I am not available. So if you can do that, I highly recommend just don't even get emails on your phone at all. And then also you should leave your desk for lunch, right? So don't work through lunch. Don't eat at your desk and, try to do some stuff like get little things done. Your work's not going to be good anyway. Just take a break. You need a break. You can come back and you'll be fresh and more prepared to do better work and probably even do it faster. But you have to take some breaks. Something else that can cause anxiety in the workplace is a lack of control. So if there are things where you just have no say, or it's just something that it's out of your control, you're having a lot of anxiety about the what ifs, what could happen, like the future, like all the stuff that could go wrong. A good tip for that is to do some meditation and grounding exercises. This really gets you back into the present moment. Anxiety is a big problem for when we are too focused on the future. And so we just are constantly in the future, and we really need to be more in the present. And so meditation is an excellent tool for that. I've always noticed when I do have a regular meditation practice, I am calmer. I can handle things better. I strongly encourage you to pick up a meditation practice, even if it's just 5 minutes. Like start with 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just start with something, but it's really going to make a big difference in bringing you back in and calming you down. Usually, a big one. It's office politics. It's drama. It's difficult coworkers. This one's tough, right? Because it's other people's actions that are triggering your anxiety, and you certainly can't control that. If you are feeling like you're having a lot of stress and anxiety because of other people, a good technique is to start doing some breathing exercises. I would say especially if you're fired up and triggered from somebody or something that happened, but also just having a regular practice where you're doing breathing exercises. I know Tony Robbins has a morning routine. He has a breathing exercise that he implements every day. So this is a really great tip because what it does is it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, right? That's what we want to feel calm and safe. And it just in general helps reduce feelings of anxiety. So what I recommend is the 4-7-8 breathing exercise, where you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, for a count of 4. You hold for 7 counts, and you exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. The idea is to be, for it to be long and slow. So slow, counting. But if you just can't, hold that long, or then you can speed it up, and just as you go, it'll get easier. But I would repeat that 3 more times. So every time you do your breathing exercise, do 4 repetitions, and that should help calm you down and help your system relieve some of that anxiety. So anxiety may just be the tip of the iceberg when it comes to you hating your job. So I put together a free workbook to help you know what to do when you hate your job. I implemented these 3 strategies myself when I was going through some serious job hate. It really helped me not dread each day, and it helped me actually improve some of those terrible work relationships. So we spend the majority of our time at work. Life is way too short to hate all of that time. If you want my free workbook, go ahead and grab it. You can get it at crystalasale.com/13, or you can click the link in the show notes below. Those were all some kind of short-term things that you can do now. So what can you do in the long term? Well, in the long term, one thing you can do is just to try and create a better, more enjoyable workspace. Just if you have an office, if you have your own space and you can do this, just personalize it. Add some pictures, add some decorations, do something so that every time you are in your workspace, you feel a little happier, you feel safer, you feel good. So every time you're in your workspace, you feel happier, you feel better, right? Another thing you can do is dopamine dressing. So if you've never heard of dopamine dressing, it's basically dressing in a way that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy, right? So this is bright colors. This is just some people like to go crazy and wear something wild. I mean, not all workplaces are going to allow you to do that, right? But do what you can. Bright colors. I personally like to wear jewelry, so I do a lot of jewelry. I wore scrubs when I worked, and I don't like to wear rings or bracelets because my hands are on people, right? But I did it with earrings and necklaces and things like that. It just made me feel good. It made me feel better. So that's always something you can do for yourself. And another option is just to build relationships, right? For the people that you are getting along with, or that there is a glimmer of hope, right? You can just get to know them better, build those relationships, plan something outside of work, because having stronger relationships in that job is going to help you kind of get through the crap, right? The other crap going on. I would recommend that you don't complain, right? Don't use those relationships as a way to complain about your job. People don't want to hear that negativity. And right, we're thinking positive now, and complaining just kind of drags you down and back into that crap. Let's just not do it. So I strongly encourage you just to stay positive and build good relationships based on positivity. And then also consider talking to like a colleague that you trust, your supervisor, if that's somebody that you can trust, or even just going to see like a therapist or a mental health professional, just to have somebody to talk to. That can always really help and make everything more tolerable, and you're able to deal with a therapist and things like that. They'll give you other coping mechanisms, coping tools, and things like that. So the number one question: is it okay to quit? Well, let's talk about quitting. So first of all, if it's a new job, if you're having a lot of anxiety and it's a new job, I personally have a rule of thumb, which, this is my personal rule that I like to follow. If it's a new job, I give myself at least 3 to 4 weeks before I decide that, yes, I'm going to quit. Because in those first 2 to 3 weeks, you're really just kind of getting to know everybody. You're getting to know how everything works. You're uncomfortable. It's pressure, right? Any job you go to is going to feel like this. And so if it's brand new, just give yourself time to determine if it's just that you are getting to know the work environment and the job, or if it's really not a good place for you to be. Another question you should be asking yourself is, what does your savings look like? Right? So So I've been trying to get my finances more in order. And so I got a book called Money Honey. It's by Rachel Richards. And I think she does a great job of kind of breaking it down, like how to pay off debt, savings, and all the buckets and all the things. She breaks it down pretty easily, like it's very understandable. And she recommends that you have at least $1,000 in an emergency fund. So just in case something would happen. And then 3 to 4 months saved of your monthly salary. You want to have your monthly paycheck times 3 saved in an account just in case something happens, right? God forbid you quit your job without something lined up and it takes you 3, 4, 5 months to find something else, right? So if you're going to quit, if it's something that you just have to get out of, maybe consider saving some money first before you just leave, or finding a job before you quit. You also want to think about how easy is it going to be for you to find another job? Do you have skills that are easily transferable to other positions, to other jobs, or is it very niched? Like for me as a chiropractor, I don't have a lot of options of where I can go, but maybe you are in marketing and there's a lot of applications that you can go to. So that's definitely something to think about. And then, of course, your level of anxiety, right? If your mental and physical health is at risk, this is not good. You need to take care of yourself. Obviously, like I said, the backup plan, having some kind of savings, at least probably a month, is going to be beneficial. But you have to put your health first. That definitely needs to be a consideration when deciding if you're going to quit or not. Okay, so we talked about having a high workload, that if you're having a high workload, take breaks and set some boundaries. If you feel like you're overwhelmed with the what ifs, if you are lacking control of some kind. We talked about breathing exercises. Do some breathing exercises, the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. If you are needing to calm down from the office drama and the politics and all of that stuff, definitely try that and make it a regular exercise. It's also a good idea to build relationships. Definitely building relationships in the workplace can help you deal with the other stuff going on in the background and give you something else to focus on. And then ultimately, you need to weigh the variables on whether quitting is the right option or not. Regardless of how much you hate your job right now, it is truly possible to overcome this workplace anxiety. And if you need some extra help knowing what to do when you hate your job, go ahead and grab my free workbook. With regular practice, it can help you improve your work relationships, wake up happier, and potentially lead you to your dream job. So if you want that workbook, go ahead and grab it at crystalasale.com/13, or you can head to the show notes below and get the link there. Hopefully now you have some tools to help you with overcoming that anxiety, helping you when you're feeling overwhelmed at work. I would love to hear about your experiences with anxiety at work. Let me know what's going on. How did you handle it? What's impacting you the most at your job? So let me know in those comments. All right, my friend, if you found value in this episode, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you loved the most. And if you know somebody who would find value in it as well, I would be grateful if you shared it with them as well. And make sure to subscribe. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.